I'm good. So my first question to you is, what made you get into yoga? Like, what was the starting point for you?
Yeah, great question. I started yoga completely broken. My mom actually was practicing yoga at the time, and I was in a really dark place. A number of years before then, I was a pedestrian hit by a car, so I almost died in that accident, and had suffered post-trauma, a lot of depression and anxiety and lots of different physical ailments and issues. And so at this point in my life when my mom was practicing yoga, I was severely depressed to the point of suicidal. So that week I'd actually planned to spend as much time as I could with my family, because at the end of the week I was going to kill myself. So you can tell it's a pretty dark sort of beginning. However, at that time my mom says, "I'm doing yoga, Lauren, come with me." So I hopped in the car and went to my first yoga class. And it was an intense class. It was this big, vigorous Ashtanga practice. And there were a lot of things I couldn't do. And I remember the teacher's eyes the first time I sort of listed my issues and ailments. He was a bit shocked as to what to do with me. But I just sort of moved at my own pace, and it was the breath that captured my attention. I realized at that time I hadn't been breathing for a number of years. I hadn't taken a deep breath in a long time. And so when I lied back in our final pose, in corpse pose in Shavasana, I felt this energy sort of reach inside of my body, like your father holds you when you've fallen off of your bike, or that sweet embrace by your partner that just loves you more than anything. And I felt that energy hold me, and without any words being spoken, it felt as if that energy said, "You're going to be okay. You need to ask for help. You need to sort of do what it is that you need to do to come out of this. Hope." And that was really it. I bawled and sobbed like the crazy person that maybe you've seen in other yoga classes before, and sort of confessed all my woes to my parents at the time. I was young. I was 20 years old, and started to get some help. So that was my first introduction to yoga, and it was intense, obviously, but it was that sort of cultivating force that helped me begin the practice. And it started at a very physical level, just a few times a week. And then I asked questions and started getting books and started practicing at home, and it just sort of spiraled from there. Yeah, so that's my beginning.
So now that you've been practicing for quite a number of years, how many years is that?
Yeah, so that would have been 2001, so it's 2013. So what's that, 12 years? Wow.
That's insane.
Yeah, cool.
So in that huge 12-year journey, what kind of style of yoga have you grown to love most?
That's a good question. Well, I started in the Ashtanga method, a very vigorous, sort of strict practice, and then evolved into, dabbled a little bit in yin yoga, sort of fell in love with that practice. It helped a lot with my flexibility and complemented the Ashtanga practice, and then circled around to what was known as the Anusara method, and I fell in love with their intentions and their heart-based yoga classes, and learned a ton about the body and about how to align the body. And now it's hard to sort of discern as to what I love or what style of yoga I love most. I really love the freedom of practicing all that I've learned in different areas at different times in my life. So I would probably just umbrella it under the Hatha yoga practice, which is a large umbrella that fits lots of different styles and movements and sequences together. So I really appreciate that.
Are you ready for a hard question?
Please, yes.
Okay, because this one's like super hard for everybody. What is your favorite pose? And if you can't pick a favorite, you can pick a favorite style of poses.
Okay, my favorite pose is headstand. Yeah, Shirshasana, for sure. It's always been my favorite pose. I feel fantastic when I'm in it. I've worked the last number of years to hold it for long periods of time. It helps me in so many different ways. So headstand.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love inversions too. They're my favorite. What do you like about teaching here at Hariom?
Oh my goodness, the community, hands down. I love the community. You know, you've got Valeria and Cormac, obviously, who always have some fantastic story to tell you, and lots of little critters or big critters crawling around downstairs. The students, of course, I fall in love with my Tuesday night class here. And just the sense of community. People come here and they sit after class and drink tea, and we tell each other stories, and we talk about our experiences on and off the mat, and we sweat together, and sometimes we cry together, and it feels like a second home. It's really fantastic, and it's beautiful too, so you have that sense of luxury and beauty all at the same time.
It's so lovely to hear that. And to close off, what's your advice to all of us practitioners out there to take our practice to the next level? Especially if we've been doing it for a while and we're kind of plateauing, what's the advice you would want to give the most to us?
Yeah. My gut, the first thing that came to mind when you asked me that question was to soften. To soften. I think the further you practice and the more you have this sort of undying commitment to the practice, because there needs to be that level of love and dedication and devotion to the practice to have it and stay with it for a long period of time. But once you have that, it's really letting go of sort of the rigid edges to the body in the practice, and letting go of the inner demons, you could say, and softening into just whatever it is that day, because it's going to be different always, no matter what. But just to know you have nothing to prove and just show up as you are. Yeah.
Awesome. Any last closing statements, anything you want to let us know about how awesome you are?
Yeah. You know, I never grew up thinking I was going to be a yoga teacher. I come from a really academic family, and yoga saved my life. Yoga transformed me into the woman I've always known I was and always wanted to be. And so I feel like this is not just my job, this is my purpose, this is my calling on earth, is to share with you everything I've learned about this practice. So if you come to my class and you show up here at this amazing place, Om, just know that I'm really welcoming you into my heart, and that I will guide you from that place, which is really sincere.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So thank you.
Thank you so much.